everyone, Trisha Hershberger here. After drooling all over their booth at E3 this year, Alienware was kind enough to send me this little guy, the Alienware Aurora R5, as well as this beauty, the Alienware 13 OLED gaming laptop. Now today's video will focus on the R5, and I'll have a video on the 13 OLED coming out soon. When that video is available, I'll link to it in the description and probably put a card up there. So huge thanks to Alienware and the Alienware Hive program for supplying me with these items to review on my channel. Okay, after many years, the Aurora finally returns! Yay! Only this time it's much smaller and available at a much smaller price point than before. So while it is a mid-tower desktop starting at $799, if money's no option for you, you can customize it to be a VR-ready 12K gaming beast in a fairly tiny form factor. Now, while I want to jump right in, undress this baby, and see what's inside, I haven't even taken the time to admire the exterior. How rude of me. Oh, baby, you're so cute. Would you let me just... I kid. In my opinion, the exterior of the Aurora R5 is really nice. I like the unusual shapes and curves borrowing from the design of the Area 51 R2. The handle on top is a nice touch, and at about 33 pounds, I'd actually consider taking this out with me. The size, as I mentioned before, is one of my favorite things about this desktop. 18.6 inches tall, 8.35 inches wide, and 14.2 inches deep. The plastic exterior might draw cries of horror from some, but paired with the traditional Alien FX lighting and cool angles, I think it's a pretty clean and polished while still very unique look. There are 4 USB 3.0 Type A ports at the top, 2 are powered, and a headphone and mic jack, which is fantastic if you keep it on the floor like I do. On the back, you'll see 6 USB 2.0, 3 more USB 3.0 Type A, 1 USB 3.1 Type A, and 1 USB 3.1 Type C, as well as Gigabit Ethernet. There's just about every audio port that you could ask for, as well as Toslink and coaxial SPDIF ports. The graphics card that's installed here has 3 display ports, 1 HDMI, and 1 DVI-D. Okay, now to the good stuff. Here's where the Aurora R5 really impressed me. It makes use of every single square inch of space it's got. In the configuration that I have here, you can see a Skylake Core i7-6700K quad-core processor, great for overclocking, a liquid cooling system to handle any said overclocking, micro ATX motherboard, NVIDIA GTX 1080 Founders Edition with 8GB GDDR5X memory, and the ability to add a second GPU down here if you like, up to 300 watts each. It's got a 2TB Seagate hard drive paired with a 512GB PCI Express SSD boot drive, and it supports up to 5 storage drive plus 1 ODD. And then up here we've got 16GB overclockable DDR4 RAM. It pulls in cool air on the right and from the front, and has a surprisingly quiet exhaust fan up here on the top. Now the 850 watt power supply is housed here in this movable arm, and it sounds terrifying, and every time I move it I keep thinking I'm going to break it, but it's actually incredibly cool, and it really does make use of every little bit of space in here. I'd imagine that this would make the PSU a little bit trickier to replace due to any specialty wiring to make the swing possible, but I really can't say for sure. Oh, and you may have noticed, I don't need to use any tools in here. I really love that Alienware is so into you customizing your own setup that they've made it super easy to swap and add components. Look, Mom, no tools needed for graphics, expansion cards, hard drives, or memory, and everything in here is replaceable. 2 thumbs up. In actual testing, I couldn't find a game that my configuration didn't run fantastically in 1080p. When upping things to 4K, I was right around 60 frames per second for tougher to run games, which I consider a win, especially when you think about the fact that you can add a second graphics card down the line. And the VR? Well, let's just say I need to start buying and streaming a lot more virtual reality content. It is just gorgeous. Now, if you are in the market for a new desktop, keep in mind the Aurora comes in a variety of configurations, from budget to high-end, and you're going to pay more the more fancies you want. To play most of today's games at 1080p with higher settings, you probably want to upgrade the video card to at least a GTX 970 and put your OS on an SSD and grab a quad-core i5-6400 processor. Those upgrades alone will cost you about $500 on top of the base price. Now, as always, you'll never do better price-wise than when you build your own rig, but if you'd rather configure it yourself, have someone else put it all together for you and have a warranty on the entire system rather than individual components, then something like the Aurora R5 might be right for you. Personally, I'll be using the system for both streaming and editing moving forward, and I'll continue to update with any further findings. Big thanks again to Alienware for including me in the Alienware Hive Reviewer program. And as always, I would love to hear from you. If you've gotten to check this particular model out, tell me what you thought about it in the comments below. Thanks as always for watching, and be sure to both like and subscribe for more techie, gamey, vloggy stuff. I'm Trisha Hershberger, and I will see you soon.